Welcome back, everyone. This is Griot of the Diaspora, and I am your host, Nakaira G. And today's episode, we're going to talk about Kelis. So if you have been following Kelis, you have been seeing her new farmer rebrand that she has been doing, and you can see her out in California, out in Africa, and mainly in Kenya. And you see her just totally rebrand into a farmer and sustainable living, eco-friendly guru person, right?
It's Kiki.
And so recently she posted a video saying that where she was in Kenya was her land. And it kind of sparked a little bit of commentary from people in Kenya. And I thought it was very interesting because I do feel that whenever the diaspora does like anything, there is so much pushback and very little educating. But on the other hand, I noticed that a lot of times when the diaspora does come to Africa, they very, very rapidly buy land, invest, buy things, and do things before they really understand the culture or the country. And the reality is that most people, when they do come to any African country, a lot of people really only know one person who can help them or who is from there, who they end up learning the country that they're visiting through. So I don't really know the background, the history, how she got connected to Kenya or Tanzania or anywhere in East Africa that she's been. Real quick, y'all, make sure you download my new ebook. It is a travel planner and journal. I made this about a year and a half ago, and it's really, really cool. There are 10 different entries. So as you are on your travel journeys, make sure you download this ebook. It's only $10, and you can get it on my website today at nakedgoldonline.com. You can download it, you can print it, whatever works for you. Make sure you cop that today.
My farm in California, everybody thought I was crazy, and then COVID hit. And now I'm out here and I'm in Africa and I'm farming and I'm living and I'm growing businesses, and people probably think I'm crazy, but I guarantee you guys, this is the most beautiful, and quite frankly, it's the best decision I've made. I'm a pioneer. This is what I do. I'm here. I'm loving it. And just keep watching. I'm a farmer and I'm a chef. For those of you who don't know, guys, I care so much about the land. I've been welcomed here. It's been beautiful. I have a farm in California where I'm all sustainable farming. It's all organic. I'm here now. I'm in Kenya and I'm farming. This is not a reserve. It is not a national park. This is privately owned land. I'm not the first one here. There's like a winery over there. There's a really cute other farm down over there. They're growing flowers over there. It's really incredible. I love this area. I put the fence up because I'm a farmer. You have to have a fence up, but the beauty of it is that I'm planting things all around the farm so the animals feel welcome. They can come, they can snack and nibble and all the things. We have a watering hole that we're putting just to encourage them. I'm doing this with all of my heart. I love this. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of energy. I've been researching, and the things that I've learned from my sustainable farm in California, I'm using all that here, and I'm learning so much more, and it's just been an absolutely amazing process. So ask the questions. I don't mind answering. That's about it. I love y'all.
But I did notice that there was some pushback, and there were some social media users on X who basically said that Kelis bought reservation land and that she bought private owned land, and they also claim that allegedly the land is British owned. And they basically are also accusing her of being a colonizer, and they are saying that her farm is going to affect the wildlife on that reserved land. So it seems like there is either a misunderstanding or somebody's lying. And I'm gonna be a little bit honest right now. I think that at some point we do have to be careful with this colonizer word. I really, really do think that at some point we have to be careful with that colonizer word. Because at some point there's a very big difference in the way that Europeans colonize Africa and the way that diasporans who have very naive intentions and mostly their excitement just kind of overpowers their intelligence a lot of times. I think that those are two different things. I think that it is a completely different thing for somebody who got a little bit of money to be told something and they believe it, and somebody who has power and is abusing that power and is doing things to exploit land and exploit the government and exploit owners of the land and different, whether it's reservations, whether it's state land, private land, however that works out on that side of Africa. I do think that those are two different things. I personally do think that those are two different things. I think that it is something different whether you are European, whether you are Asian, whether you are African or non-African. I think that exploitation is completely different from someone buying land, thinking that they are going to be doing something good, thinking that they are going to be building something sustainable, and thinking that they are participating in this greater way of life. I'm not necessarily saying that that is what Kelis is doing, but I am saying that those are two different things. Now, I do think that it's interesting that when Kelis posts videos of her land in Kenya, she does show wildlife like zebras and giraffes, and that gives off that it is a reserve and that it is a national park. Because, no shade, sister, but I'm not about to believe that you have a farm and you are comfortable and feel so safe with the thought that 10 zebras can just jump over your fence and as much as I want to believe that we just out here living this wild Thornberry lifestyle that people think that it is when you come over here, I just don't. I don't know. At this point, maybe it is, but I just don't know that. And I don't really want to jump to conclusions when it comes to people like Kelis, because this is very similar to what is happening right now in Ghana. The video that I did about Shaka Bars and Earn Your Leisure and the real estate development that they have announced. They have 500 acres of land that they are now building a development on. Whether they own that land or they are leasing that land or they are doing whatever type of partnership, that's not really none of my business. It's just not. It's honestly just not. And I do understand that there is a conversation that does need to be had in the real estate land buying space in terms of displacement, in terms of environmental damage, in terms of lack of government assistance. But I do think that at some point, as we continue to be a diaspora that is coming by the hundreds to this continent, I do think at some point there needs to be a conversation about what real estate looks like in countries where the government is not assisting in the ways that they should be. Because in reality, I'm not one of those diasporans who thinks that the diaspora owes Africa all of its money and all of its time and energy. I'm just not one of those people. I don't necessarily believe that we owe anybody anything. I don't think that we need to be the ones who are building up all of these things. I don't necessarily feel that way. I do think that the government is responsible for that. I do think that there are billionaires and millionaires that are in these African countries who should be responsible for that. I think that there are colonizers, like actual colonizers, like actual companies like Unilever, companies that have renamed themselves who used to be slave owning companies. I think those companies and countries should be responsible. I think those companies should be responsible for money that is owed, or resources that is owed, or power that is owed. I think that those people are responsible for those things. Now, I do think that if this is reservation land, and this is just across the board, this is something that I also just kind of like, and this may be ignorant, but I'm just going to say it. I do think that on both sides, for the person who is buying land, right? I think what rubs people the wrong way is because in Kelis's video, she made a comment and she said, I'm a pioneer, I'm always doing something, da 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 da. And it kind of gives off like, as if like she's the first to do it, she's always the one that's influencing the culture. And I really don't want to live in a world where just because someone has money, they can do whatever they want. Like at the same time. Like I would prefer to see a herbalist, a agriculture farmer. I would rather see those people in the video, and Kelis is saying, I'm investing in this particular farm here in Kenya, and these are the farmers, and these are the agricultural workers, and these are the herbalists, and these are the people who work with fruits, and these are the people who make natural pesticides, and these are the people who own the grocery stores, and these are the communities that our products and our resources will be going to, and this is how you can help. At this point, that's really all I kind of want to see. I want to see people with money invest in the people who actually have the indigenous education or academic education or trade education in those particular fields and industries. I do not really want to live in a world, and I definitely do not want to live in an Africa where everything that is nice or luxury or sustainable or eco-living is all tied to a rich family or a rich corporation or a rich celebrity. At some point it does. I don't feel that the diaspora can necessarily be colonizers, because the diaspora doesn't have enough power behind any of the money that they do or don't have. So I don't have that ideology that diasporans can be colonizers, because like I said, there's no power in order to actually colonize. I think that in order to really have that conversations, we need to really use the words that are actually like pertaining to those things. I do think that there is favoritism. I do think that there are locals in these different countries, as well as foreigners in these different countries, as well as colonial partnerships that are operating in these countries that will prefer diasporans or other foreigners over nationals and citizens of those particular countries. And I don't necessarily think that that is fair. But I think that we can't just do this thing where when the diaspora does something, oh my God, they're doing something wrong. Well, where's the person that sold them that land? Did they also do something wrong? Because it comes off as if like the diasporans are like bullying people for their land or bullying people for things. And it's like, no, at some point, everybody has to be involved. Who sold them the land? And why are they not being ridiculed? What department, what office, who sold her that land? Like, let's talk to that person. Let's talk about how they are even able to do that. Because if you're basically telling me all it takes is some money, then that's the conversation we need to be having is, why is there so many people in government, and why is there so many people who own land that can be bought? And why is there so many people who are just waiting for a number to be bought to give that away? And how come those people get to sell this land and sell these properties and sell these things, and then they get to go unscathed, but then the person who bought it and who's building and who's thinking that they're doing something good, they get ridiculed and chastised and called a colonizer? Like I said, I'm not saying this is particular to Kelis's situation, but living in Ghana, I know that there are so many situations like this where people are buying land, they think everything's all good, and then they find out like, oh, this isn't. And they don't know about it, but the chief that sold them the land, oh, they go scotch-free. And then the people who, what is the department that is selling reserve land? So maybe I might have to do a part 2 to this video so that I can research that and get some of those answers. I do question Kelis. I do think that there is room to question her intentions and how this happened, but I want to do a little bit more research. So drop down in the comments how you feel, and if you saw Kelis's video floating around, and if you saw the social media comments happening as well. Let's talk about it. So I'll probably do a part 2 if some more information comes out, but let's talk about it in the comments, okay? All right, till next time.